Hello friends, welcome back to another episode. So today I've got a young man who's asking me a question over Instagram, and if you want to ask me a question, you can contact me in my Instagram, which is linked below. So he says, "Hi Stuart, I have to thank you so much for impacting my life so much. Your videos on ADHD woke up so many emotions in me and made me feel less alone. They gave me a sense of hope. I have a quick question. What should a 17-year-old guy with undiagnosed inattentive ADHD do, in your opinion? It's really hard because parents can't really understand or don't want to put in the effort sometimes." So I feel for you, bro. I can remember being 17. I remember how hard it was for myself and how hard it is when nobody knows what the hell is going on with you and you don't know what's going on with yourself. But it sounds like you're pretty self-aware and you've got an idea that you could have inattentive ADHD. So first of all, I would say the very first thing you want to do is actually get diagnosed. Now, I know you're only 17, so you're a minor, right? But as soon as you turn 18, I would encourage you to go out and find that person, that specialist, to see if you can get a diagnosis, right? Because it can make all the difference. I think there's a big difference in your psychological well-being when you know for sure that you have the diagnosis. When you have something solid that confirms all your suspicions, I think it does make a difference. It helps you to process things more and you have a clearer understanding of who you are. So I would say try to rule it out first, make sure that it's not something else, because I don't know how supportive your parents are. It sounds like they're not really supportive, and I feel for you. I'm sorry to hear that, but it won't be long. Give yourself a little bit of time, but in the meanwhile, you can help yourself regardless of whether you have the diagnosis or not, okay? So just hang in there. So the first thing I recommend is that you just pay attention to your behavior. Get to know your traits. While your brain is still young and developing, this is the perfect time for you to get to know yourself, right? So you need to just ask yourself, how do I best learn? What triggers my problems? How do I tend to function in the world? What so far has given me success and what so far has made me fail? If you can identify these things, you make things a lot easier for yourself because you start to build up a small little backlog of information that helps you to build a lifestyle that suits you. When you're aware of the things that work for you and the things that don't work for you, you have a much better chance of succeeding in life because you understand yourself. You understand what your brain is capable of doing and what your brain is not really capable of doing. So with that said, you want to also evaluate your current lifestyle. Does your lifestyle serve you? If not, why not? What are the factors in your life that are holding you back? And what are the factors that are helping you propel and grow personally? Maybe it's people. Maybe it's certain things that you're taking on board. Maybe it's because you're not looking after yourself that it makes your symptoms worse. I would encourage you to get obsessed with health and fitness. Hyper-focus on being athletic and healthy and working out for your mental wellness, not just your physique, because there is scientific evidence that if you're a regular exerciser, you're going to generate more dopamine, you're going to have better mental health, better mental performance. It's just a fact, okay? So as a young guy, definitely get out there and work out, be healthy, make it a lifestyle and start now while you're young, because you'll thank yourself when you're older. So with regards to your age, I know there are children that get medicated, but that's only because their parents pursue that route for them. So if you haven't had that option, if you haven't had parents that are making you go onto medication, you might want to try it out for yourself. I don't think that medication is a must for everybody. I think it's optional. But I think there's absolutely no harm in you trying to figure out if there's a medication that works for you. It depends where you're from. I think maybe if you're from the US, you might have to get yourself a job and save a bit of money for the funding of your medication. When you turn 18, you're going to have some money for that, depending where you're from. You've just got to work with what's available to you. Sometimes you might find that there's a medication that works, but it comes with horrible side effects. That's the way it's been for me. And it really is just a matter of trial and error. You've got to find what works for you, and it can take you a while. It can take you months, sometimes years, to figure out which medication is right for you. Or you might end up feeling like me, and you'd rather just treat it naturally and find strategies and lifestyle habits that make it easier to manage overall. So it's entirely up to you. It's an individual decision. It's a case-by-case situation depending on how severely you're affected by it. Like, I know for me, when I was young, my ADHD was far worse than it is now. I do think in some cases your ADHD can simmer down, and there are certain factors that can make it much worse, depending on your lifestyle. You know, if you live an unhealthy lifestyle and you don't get adequate sleep, you don't look after yourself, it can definitely make things worse. I promise you, because everything that you do, everything that you take in to your body, your environment, it does affect your brain. It totally affects your ability to function, right? So this is why going back to what I talked about in your evaluation of your lifestyle is so important. Because it's not just about taking a medication and using it as a crutch or a band-aid. You've also got to get to the root problem that causes you problems in the first place. So you've got to work with the way that your brain is, not trying to force yourself into a life or living situation that just doesn't work for your brain, and you're continuously failing, you're continuously struggling. The next thing I would say is either find yourself a mentor or a counsellor. Find yourself a mental health counsellor, because I mean, medication is one thing, but I think it's truly down to more than that. I think it's a lot to do with you being able to cope, and if you struggle to cope with ADHD and being in the world, you're going to need some help, and your parents aren't always going to understand. You know, people closest to you often don't understand. But again, I know you're a youngster and you're probably not going to be able to afford that. These days you can find affordable help online. Even just being part of a community, perhaps being on a Reddit community, you know, like ADHD Reddit, and just looking at other people for support. And the final step I would say is just to educate yourself, you know. Maybe you want to start reading books. I know a lot of people with ADHD struggle with that, so you could possibly listen to audiobooks bit by bit. That's what I like to do. I think it's important to learn about yourself and learn about your condition, and to really get into personal growth, you know. Try to always improve yourself and get into self-improvement. If you're a young person, you're so lucky that you've caught this young. You know, I didn't really realize that I had this issue until I was about 10 years older than you. I mean, I always knew there was something wrong, but I didn't know about what it actually was, you know. So at your age, I had terribly low self-esteem because I just didn't know why I was so incompetent. I didn't know what was going on. You know, when I was a teenager, I just didn't have the tools and the resources and the awareness to help myself. It's really like the blind leading the blind. You know, it took me so many years to finally understand what was going on that I felt like I missed out. And I think anyone who is watching this and you're a youngster, you know, don't wait. Please don't wait. Don't put it off. There are lots of people that I come across who are much older than I am, and they're full of regret. And it's sad to see, because it feels almost as though these people have wasted their lives. But it's not. I mean, at the end of the day, it's never too late to improve yourself. It's never too late to change. You know, what's done is done. The time that has been wasted is gone. I mean, but at the end of the day, your past has made you who you are, right? And you're only 17. You've got so many decades ahead of you to potentially turn your life around. So, you know, don't be too sad about this. You need to be more grateful and optimistic, because you've got so much ahead of you now. You know, you've got the awareness, and you've caught this young. So congratulations. I wish you all the best, and I hope this helped, dude. Take care. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the content, please give me a like to help the algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember, stay strong and stay focused. Done.